straight ahead into a copse of trees. Now, I'm thinking it probably didn't end well for him, because they were all very young, small trees, so his head would have been hitting, his entire body would have been hitting branches. And the motorcycle went a good 200 yards through the trees. The bike was fine. The bike didn't actually hit a tree, but most of the branches that it went past, the rider was going to be taking the full brunt of that. Now, all of my accidents, apart from two, which were more my stupidity, one was I was out delivering pizzas on a motorcycle, which is why I started riding motorcycles. And I'm sure that shifted again. We may be changing cedars before next year. Oh, I like this one. I was going around a roundabout just after it was winter time. Now, it wasn't icy or anything, but I went round this roundabout just after the grit truck had gone round. So, of course, my little motorcycle went sliding sideways because there was no traction on the ground because of all the little pebbles of salt that the grit truck had dropped. That was my stupid fault. And the other time was I was approaching a roundabout, braking, totally controlled braking, and right at the top I hit a patch of diesel and the bike just went out from underneath me. Absolutely nothing I could do about that. And you couldn't see the diesel, so no warning. All of a sudden the bike just went sideways. Every other time it's been another driver. I've been hit by a truck, I've been hit by a car. I was hit by a car while a police car was following me at road legal speeds. So he saw more of the accident than I did, and he came back after checking with the other driver and said, "You'll be pleased to know he wasn't drinking," which is usually a problem because then insurance starts to get all, whatever. Oh, he was drinking, we're not going to cover you. Sort of, but, I've been badly injured. Yes, but drink. So we're not insuring him. Ooh, forwards. Because of that accident, I had to give up riding motorcycles. So that was the end of my motorcycling thing. And then when I moved to America, I thought about it for very briefly, and I was driving my first car here down the highway, and some guy went past me sideways along the shoulder and gained traction just as he went past the driver's door and slammed into the front of my car. And at that point I decided there is no way on earth I am riding a motorcycle in America, because I will end up dead. And it doesn't matter how alert you are, how attentive you are to what's going around you, how defensively you drive, you will get killed by a moron. And unfortunately, America's streets have far too many morons on them. I think in the UK, part of my safety mitigation was due to the motorcycle I was riding. I owned a BMW Tourer, luxury Tourer LT model, which does not come in white as a standard colour. Now, I bought it used, and the previous owner had basically had it completely resprayed white. As I said, they don't come in white normally, and the only white ones you see in Europe have blue lights and loud two-tone sirens. That's not what I had planned. Oh crap. Okay. So basically what ended up happening was people would see me and think twice about doing anything stupid or illegal. And I had a number of cars that pulled out in front of me and nearly went the wrong way because they thought, oh, I just pulled out in front of a cop. And yep. You didn't, but you think you did, and you feel guilty now. But, yeah, high visibility vest plus, what else? White helmet. And so many people mistake you as a cop, but you're also high visibility. Why is that not really connecting? Ah, there we go. So it was pointing up the ground. There, we've done it. Set it to 0 degrees, 1.3 meters. We'll raise it a little, drive it back up to the top. So yeah, if you want to ride a motorcycle, looking like the local constabulary is not a bad idea for safety. The bigger the motorcycle, the safer you are. I mean, it's been joked, a BMW motorcycle, it's basically a car with only 2 wheels. They are built very, very well, very heavy. Not particularly good handling when it comes to driving country roads, but on an autobahn, motorway, highway, whatever, they are perfectly happy doing the speed limit all day, every day. Very, very comfortable ride. Okay. Let's try and get that 0. Okay, that's that one put away. So we put away the harvester and everything, so we just need to take this thing out. Admittedly, that car accident when I first got to America happened in California, and California has just, yeah, lots of people who are of dubious driving skills. Then went to Texas. Texas wasn't too bad. Michigan, it's less to do with the drivers and more to do with the road. Way too many potholes in Michigan. When you've only got 2 wheels with a very narrow postage stamp size patch of rubber on the ground. Yeah. When the ground keeps disappearing, it's probably not a good idea either. Plus, I'm old, my joints are crap because of the accident I had that prevented me from riding for so many years. It's just not worth it. Did I shut the gates? Oh, I am an idiot. So crops that we plant in fall, which will be tomorrow, will probably not get any silage or whatever it is that I'm planning to use from the BGA as fertiliser, because I don't have a slurry tank. But springtime, I'm hoping to be able to buy a slurry tank with the proceeds from the harvest, which should mean that we're able to use some of the digestate to fertilise some of the fields that we plant later in the spring. This field will be ploughed rather than cultivated, since we were unable to plough it last year, or this year, the year just gone, spring just gone. We were unable to plough it. It was already visually ploughed, but was not ticked off as needing ploughed. So that carried over to the harvest from this year, or for this year. So I'm just going to put oilseed radish straight in the ground, since this is a direct seeder, direct drill. And we'll plough this in spring to rejuvenate the ground. All our other fields will be cultivated and then seeded normally. Even though this is a direct drill, we do own a cultivator and we will make use of that in the coming months. Fertilizer tanks are liquid, so our main fertilization methods for the last year have been liquid spraying. And there's a patch of weeds. Bye-bye. We're going to have to deal with those sometime. Once the weeds are established, they're there forever until you deal with them. And if they make it to second stage growth, the only way to deal with them is to put weed killer down. You can cultivate, which makes them disappear briefly, but when they regrow, they'll be in second stage. So, but as I've said, the amount of weeds on this field at the moment doesn't really warrant running around with a herbicide sprayer doing all the and all the cost that entails. Just not. The amount we lose from the harvest is negligible. The amount it costs to put weed killer on the entire field is quite costly. Now, as we build up more weed coverage, it's worth considering maybe putting herbicide down. Probably later in the summer before you get round to harvest. And with grass field, because obviously grass fields, you're cutting those 2 to 3 times a year. So those weeds are going to impact your yield every single time you cut. Put that on cruise control. Now, we're using a planter. We're using this one, which is a mod of effectively this one. 12 meters, actually that's wider. They both plant everything. 280 horsepower, 250, so a little bit more, but this one does not fertilize. And it doesn't cultivate either. Now I thought, being a mod, this was probably a cheat. But no, this seeder does come with liquid fertilizer tanks as an option, and it also is capable of direct seeding or no tillage seeding, whatever you want to call it. Otherwise, I'm getting to the point where the only good 12-metre seeder is the Lemkin, which we used for the entirety of the Lawfolds playthrough. So, put that back on. The other option is that's 15 meters. It's bigger. That does everything too, but I think that's probably solid fertilizer. This is the one I tended to use. I had problems with this horse and actually these two horse seeders. Now this is also a possibility, which is the Vederstadt Rapid A600 800. Didn't add that. Which is an upgrade of the 600. So rather than being a 6-metre seeder, it's an 8-metre seeder. I may consider something like that. I don't know. But the reason for a 12-metre seeder is I can do that. Which is basically pull a full 180 in the length of, or in the width of the of 12 metres. With 6-metre, I haven't tried 9, but with 6-metre I just can't do that. I would have to reposition the tractor, which slows down your seeding because you're having to pull sideways, reverse back, and then pull back into the next row, and it's just a pain in the butt. And also, if we end up getting the Lemkin again, I'll need one for sunflowers and what's the other stuff we're doing? And the stuff that's not potato, sugar beets. If I decide to do those, at least with this one, it's it plants everything. I am a little bit annoyed that it seems to drift when it's parked and unattended. Which is the problem I have, far more serious problem I had with the horse aggravation seeders on this map. And that wasn't even a come back next week and it's moved. It was, I parked it up and I went out and did something else in the field, and when I came back it was turned 90 degrees and trying to head out through the wall of the shed it was in. And I sort of, yeah, that's not going to work for me. Should probably have done 2 headlands because it's a little close to the hedge at the end. Oops, and let's just go do that bit over there because I messed up. did notice we went out on Friday. One of our local restaurants does a curbside. Oh shoot! A curbside pickup. They do one dinner. Last week was either chicken noodle or beef noodle, and this week was a full turkey dinner. So we decided, yay, full turkey dinner, and we went to pick it up. And we went last week, and very few people in the parking lot. Yeah, it was probably about 10 cars total. We went this week and the parking lot was packed. Now you have to email your request Monday through Thursday with a pickup time, and they have limits on, you know, when you they run. I think it's about 4 o'clock to 6 or 7 last week. They added an extra hour to the pickup time this week. Rather than doing 300 meals, they did about 400 meals, and they still ran out by, you know, this is how much we're going to cook. Put your order in early, because if you get in too late, we're not going to have any food for you to even place an order against. But we went out and there was a ton of traffic out there. I mean, last week the roads were relatively empty, but this week, oh my goodness. It was almost like a normal Friday. But good food. They're usually they're a little on the pricey side as a sit-down restaurant. Not Ruth Chris Steakhouse pricey, but yeah, they're not your Bob Evans type sit-down. But they do good food, and yeah, because they are a sit-down restaurant, they've been closed for however many weeks it is, so definitely want to support them. Yeah, we don't have a lot of sandwich shops open. I think I know we noticed Jimmy John's was open last night too. Just as a drive-through, and oh my goodness, they were queued around the block. The vast majority of Subways are closed, and I was rather surprised to see one open. When was it? Last week Sunday we went out to buy a new fridge and dishwasher, because Saturday our dishwasher decided to flood the kitchen, and our stove has been a little temperamental. Like when you turn the gas down, it'll just turn, it will go out, and then you have the problem of gas escaping into the kitchen, which is usually not a good plan. I've had issues with it failing to light, so and it's probably as old as the house, about 20 years, so we figured from a safety point of view it was probably a good idea to get a new stove, and because our dishwasher broke, it's time to get a new dishwasher, or because our dishwasher flooded the kitchen, it's time to get a new dishwasher. So we went shopping last week on Sunday, and we went to a number of places, and it's sort of, yeah, we can do delivery, we'll drop it at the side of the road and it's your problem. Sort of yeah, that's not working for us. It's me and my wife. I have bad shoulders, and she has a problem with picking up heavy objects as well. So there's no way we could get a stove or a dishwasher even into the house without help. And it kind of helps to know when you're going to deliver it, so we can have some strong men available to carry it into the house. But then you've got the problem of installation, and all of my tools are still in boxes, so installation is not going to work for me for a few months anyway. Oh no! We went to 2 stores, which was basically curbside drop-off only. Installation is your problem, and getting it into the house is your problem too. So we sort of, yeah, that's not working for us. And we ended up down at one of the big box hardware stores. And yeah, first question we asked before we did anything else was, so if we were to buy a new stove and dishwasher, are you going to install it for us? And they said, well, we don't do installation, but the company we retain to do installation, well, they'll call you to tell you when it's going to happen. So we're like, well, that's better than the last 2 places we've been to. So we ended up buying a new stove and a new refrigerator, a new stove and a new dishwasher. And I think Wednesday this week, the installation company gave us a call and said, we'd like to do it Monday next week if that's convenient. So, yeah, that's good. So, Monday we're getting a new stove and a new dishwasher. Yay. I think everything else in the house still works. The washer dryer are a little on the old side. The refrigerator looks to be fairly new and is one of those French door refrigerators with a freezer drawer at the bottom. So it produces ice. It doesn't have drinking water, but we have a drinking water tap on the main sink, so that's not a problem. And I'm finding